guys, my name is Sanya and welcome back to our podcast where we are discussing the Wimbledon. This is our second episode, and thank you so much for all the love you guys showed on our first episode. And thank you, Miraj, for giving us so much information. Because honestly, when I watched round three and four after everything you told me, I was more intrigued and like more excited about watching it because I had so much information from you.
Absolutely. I mean, round three and four were, and we'll get into the details later, but less of upsets, more of expected results, and based on everything that went on in the first couple of rounds, it was always going to be a cracker of the next two rounds. So, and more
Yeah.
of the same in the upcoming one. So let's see how that one goes.
I think with round three and four, I'm just gonna get to the main point because I'm still depressed about it. Was that I was very sad that Jack Draper and Tommy Paul are out.
For Tommy Paul, I did not watch that match because I was busy watching Jack Draper being absolutely bullied in his words, not mine, in his words by Marine Cilic. Now, Marine Cilic, for those who do not know, has come to India, has played in India, and he's an exceptional player. He's
Okay.
38, amazing player. He's weak on his knees. He went to the finals of the Wimbledon in 2017, won a Grand Slam few years back. Lost to actually that was a pretty iconic final that one between Federer and Marin Cilic, where Marin Cilic actually had a blister on his left leg and he still fought through the pain despite he lost in straight sets. But he's an absolute fighter. Bring on Sinner, bring on Alcaraz. I would still put my money on Cilic's for.
I'm saying
Yeah.
that you very confidently told me Draper in, Tommy Paul in.
I mean, as if any of my predictions have gone right anywhere. I've actually stopped doing that on Twitter also.
Yeah, stop jinxing, please.
I did not know. I did not even expect Chilis to do what he did because he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
not the favorite going into that match because Draper homeboy he was supposed to win and the way
yeah,
in the manner in which he has lost is astonishing. Very correct words used by Jack Draper. He had been bullied, and to
yeah.
his credit, I have never seen Jack Draper being bullied that
What about your favorite man, Taylor Fritz? I'm so glad that he was not out. अगर वो भी बाहर जाता ना, I would stop talking to you.
टेलर टेलर फ्रिट्ज नहीं जाएगा आई एम स्टिल सेइंग टेलर फ्रिट्ज अभी भी बाहर नहीं जाएगा ही हैज अ लॉन्ग वे टू गो ही इज प्लेइंग द सेमीफाइनल्स अगेंस्ट अल्caraz and now I'm scared that I've said it.
Stop it. Stop it.
Anyway, okay, coming to Taylor Fritz, in his press conference, he made it very clear that he had to work on his returns because he faced two big servers, the second one being Gabriel Diallo, and the first one being Perica. And
Yeah.
the player that he faced next was actually very tricky because he was coming out of a routine that was not so Taylor Fritz like. He was actually blocking the returns and hoping that the balls go deep, which in most cases did. Now, against
Yeah.
Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, who is not that huge of a server, he relies more on placement than power. Like he actually, the beautiful thing that Taylor Fritz did was he went back a couple of steps as compared to where he was against those two players. He went back a couple of steps and he had actually had the time to take a full swing to the ball, which made it very
Yeah.
easy for him to attack the serves because they were not as quick as the ones that were in the couple of rounds. I don't like saying this, but actually he turned out to be very lucky that in the fourth round, Jordan Thompson retired.
But I want to talk about not the big three, of course, but I want to talk about Djokovic, Sinner, and Alcaraz, who we know are coming to semifinals for sure. What do you think was their form in round three and four? Was it better than round one and two?
Definitely. I mean, for Djokovic, he has been very sound. He has actually went on to win the round three game against his countryman very easy. And the round four game today against Alex de Minaur being 6-1 down, lost the first set 6-1, won the next two 6-4, 6-4. The fourth set, he was down 4-1. And from that, he went on to win 6-4. And that guy is something else. Novak Djokovic is something else. And if he carries this momentum throughout, I would not be surprised if he goes on to lift the championship.
That would
Next
be
up,
great.
next up, we you mentioned Carlos Alcaraz. Carlos Alcaraz
Yeah.
had actually a very easy third round against Struff. Struff, I also mentioned in the last video, Felix Auger was supposed to or would mess that up, and boy, he actually did mess it up.
Yeah.
Struff came out up against as the winner against Felix, and then Struff was always not going to last against Alcaraz because of the vast difference in the quality that they have. Right, so easy win for Alcaraz, four sets. And the next one against Rublev was actually a very good game. Scoreline might not
Yeah.
suggest that, but Rublev actually worked hard in that match, many aces, right? But Alcaraz was operating on a different level. I read a stat in the last set, Alcaraz conceded only 3 to 5 points on his serve. So actually, Rublev was playing for the tiebreak because tiebreak is essentially what a penalty shootout kind of a scenario where the room for margin, the room for error for both players is very less, right? So he was playing for that. Got the tiebreak in the first set, won the first set, but for the next three sets, all it took Alcaraz was just one break of serve of Rublev, and that was it.
Yeah,
And lastly, Sinner. Sinner is operating on a totally different level altogether. I mean,
I
he
agree.
has not dropped a single game, let alone a set. He has
Yeah.
not dropped a single game in this entire. He's playing his fourth round today as we speak, but over the course of 3 rounds, he has not dropped a single game.
Yeah.
100% game record is
Yeah.
incredible stat.
I think he's come with full badla for French Open.
Sinner, I remember his face totally, completely distraught after
Yeah.
that game in the
Yeah.
French Open.
Yeah.
That guy deserves some sort of confidence, some sort of momentum.
Yeah. The quarterfinals have started. By the time I post this video, quarterfinals must have started. So, what are you really looking forward for the quarterfinals? Don't tell me that Taylor Fritz is going to semis because I and you want him to go. So, you keep quiet about it.
I will actually give you some good news. Taylor Fritz is playing Karen Khachanov, and Khachanov is 2-0 up on head to head against Taylor Fritz. Taylor Fritz has never won against Karen Khachanov.
But there's
So
always a first time.
there is, okay, now look who's into it. There is always a first time, but you and I both want Taylor Fritz to win. That is a different thing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Taylor Fritz is again going to come up against a big sir. And it
Yeah.
would be interesting to see if he goes back to his old blocking habits or does he actually wait for the ball to come to him and swing, right? Because
Yeah.
those are Taylor Fritz is ends up being two different players when on return when he does that. Next game that we have is Alcaraz versus Cameron Norrie. The Cameron Norrie has had a dream run. The one that he won against Francis Tiafoe, I personally thought was a fluke because Francis Tiafoe I thought should have won that, but Cameron Norrie on the back of the crowd somehow won it. But the next games that he played has been a testament to how good actually Cameron Norrie has been, and he has been
Yeah.
exceptional. Again, I still think that it should be Alcaraz who should be winning that game, but
You think?
yes, I think I cannot be sure because that is how good Cameron Norrie has been.
That is a bold statement, my friend.
I mean, look, I'm still saying that Alcaraz will win this, but Cameron Norrie has a chance. Shelton against Sinner is a very interesting prospect.
Right.
Sinner has always won against Shelton, but in this particular tournament, I think Shelton has a chance. I'm still
Right.
not saying that Shelton will win. Shelton is definitely not going to win, but he's definitely going to challenge him.
Okay. Okay. What about Djokovic?
Djokovic is playing against Flavio Cobolli. Easy win for Djokovic. I'll be very
Right.
upfront here.
Right.
Easy win for Djokovic because Flavio Cobolli has played an incredible match against Marine Cilic. Marine Cilic defeated Jack Draper, defeated Munar, and those were two easy games. But this one
Hmm.
against Flavio Cobolli, he just could not get that forehand going, which is a very strong, a very powerful stroke of this. He could not get that going. His first serve percentages were low, right? So and Cobolli, okay. So another interesting stat here is that Cobolli is the after Sinner and Alcaraz, it is actually Flavio Cobolli who has dropped the least number of games in this entire tournament. So Flavio Cobolli is
Oh,
that good of a server. And him against Djokovic is going to be very interesting. Again, easy win for Djokovic. Flavio Cobolli
but
has
it
not
should be challenging. But it should be
should be
challenging, is what you're
challenging.
going to
Yes,
say.
should be because that is what I want. How I want tennis to be. I mean, enough of
Yeah.
three set wins, enough of easy wins.
Yeah.
Because now that my all-time favorite player Roger Federer no more plays, so I'm just looking for good tennis right now. And if everything goes as I said, my God, this is going to be one heck of a quarterfinal that we're looking at.
What about the women? So Emma is out.
Emma was actually not even touted to defeat Sabalenka. Emma went down against
Yeah.
Sabalenka. So,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is one. Sabalenka now plays Laura Siegemund. Laura Siegemund has not dropped a single set. Okay, the next interesting game would be Amanda Anisimova versus Pavlyuchenkova. Pavlyuchenkova came up against a local player, Sonay Kartal, in the fourth round, and that was another interesting game. Although that game was, overshadowed by controversial line calls, which I would want to talk about later in this video. Anisimova
Hmm.
should win this. And then we have Andreeva, Mira Andreeva, who won a Grand Slam over the last couple of years. I'm not getting the stat on the top of my mind right now, but Mira Andreeva also should be winning her game against Bench is the player that
Hmm.
she's coming up against. So she should win this. And Samasunova is playing against Iga Swiatek. So
Hmm.
Iga to win that for sure.
Yeah.
And one call out that I wanted to make, I was watching this game, Indian contention here, and I'm just checking at it. Yuki Bambri and Robert Galloway in the men's
Yes.
double section have
Yes.
actually, what a heartbreak for Yuki Bambri. They were up against Granollers and Zeballos. Those are Australian Open or French Open champions, if I'm not wrong, and that pair actually had paired up since a very long time. And the previous one that they won was the first Grand Slam that they won together. So
Okay.
four-seeded pair, very, very good doubles pair. But Yuki Bamri, man, I mean, what a story. He has been playing for a very long time. He is the last standing Indian in the men's doubles. Ritvik Bolepalli went out. One shout out to the Indian player who has been actually, who was up until now playing very good tennis, and that is Yuki Bamri. Yuki Bamri paired up with Robert Galloway for this Wimbledon, and he went up to the round of 16, came up against the pair of Granollers and Zeballos, French Open champions, and ended up on the losing side. He still is in contention in the mixed doubles. Let's see how far that one goes. But Rohan Bopanna, Ritvik Bolipalli, and Sriram Balaji. And Sriram Balaji was actually playing some really good tennis. Ended
Yeah.
up losing again. It is heartbreaking to see Indian tennis go in the direction that it is going. I am not even expecting anything of the singles. Not a lot happening for Indian tennis as we speak, but again, we're always hopeful. There are a lot of players coming through the ranks. Aryan Shah is there. Dakshin Suresh is actually playing some incredible college tennis in the US. So all of
Okay.
these people are there. Hopefully, there is someone in an Indian player who comes up and at least goes to the main draw of Wimbledon, because I don't remember in the men's section apart from Somdev Devarman there has been anyone who actually has
Yeah.
reached the main draw of a Grand Slam. So that is
Right.
sort of an Indian roundup, if you may.
But there is something very interesting that I read about tennis very recently that the coach has AI now.
Look, two things. I could either choose to sit on the fence here and say that, oh, wait, AI is the future, all of that, all good stuff. Or I can go back and say that, you know what, linesmen were the perfect people to judge a ball. And I still stand
So,
by that, that linesmen are the perfect people to judge a ball. Yes, it is very dangerous for them because the serving speed has gone drastically up. People are serving at 145, 150 miles an hour.
yeah.
That is so quick, and to
Yeah.
dodge that ball requires some doing. And if you get hit
Yeah.
by it, you do not know what's going to happen. Right? So it is very
Yeah.
dangerous. But for the
Yeah.
game, for the tradition, I feel linesmen are the best people for the calls. And the reason why I'm saying it is because two people, Jack Draper, actually called it on the press conference very clearly in as many words that the AI calls are not accurate. Right?
Oh, really?
He actually called that out in the press conference, and he said that AI calls are not accurate. And the thing that happened with Pavlyuchenkova against Kartal is actually very interesting. So I'll take you through the series of events. Just stick by me. A rally was ongoing. Kartal hit the ball. That ball went long, and that ball went evidently long. Now
Okay.
Pavlyuchenkova, in order to claim that point, tried to put that ball back in, but that ball did not go back in. Now at this point,
Okay.
the AI is supposed to make the call of out, right? But
Okay.
for that particular point, now the people would go on to say that the system was down. This is
Yeah.
not a mid-sized company that we're talking about that the servers go down. This is
Yeah.
Wimbledon, this is a Grand Slam. Servers
Wimbledon.
not be going down this way. Pavlyuchenkova was so sure that she had won the game. It was if she would have won that game, it would have been Kartal's serve, but she would have been like a break up was Pavlyuchenkova, right? But then that was not the case. She was going to sit down on her side, but then she sees the chair umpire talking to someone, and that is where the confusion starts from. Because now what we're doing is that we are taking the human element out of it. I do
Yeah.
not understand then what the chair umpire is for. Because if we cannot get any precedence over AI, then I am sorry, I do not understand what the chair umpire is doing there. Because that ball was evidently out. The chair umpire would then go on to say, borderline apologize that the ball was out and he did not over the point. But he then said that he was playing by the books, was the
Hmm.
umpire. But the umpire should be given enough rights to at least make a call. And so what the umpire did was he called let. So for those who do not know, when the umpire calls let, you replay the point. the point was replayed, and Kartal actually went on to win that game. Fortunately, the result was not impacted by this entire episode.
But who knows?
Who knows, right? Who knows?
Who
It could have.
knows?
Pavlyuchenkova went on to say that because she was British, she got some sort of advantage. So no one is holding back anything when it comes to these line calls because these line calls are going out of hand. This is not how I know Wimbledon. This is not how majority of people know Wimbledon. This.
Right.
I am sorry, I am not in for this.
So there's British bias in tennis as well. Do you know that there's British bias in Formula One as well? That's why
Then
it's
it's
really funny
British.
when you told me right now. I was like, oh my God, this is a
Yeah,
conversation to have.
same thing happening in tennis. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Who do
Sorry.
you think are we seeing in semi?
Djokovic versus Sinner and Alcaraz versus Fritz. Alcaraz versus Fritz was decided from the day these upsets started happening. Path became very clear when Jack Draper went out, when Medvedev went out on the first day. So that part became very clear for him. So
Yeah,
Fritz versus Alcaraz was a definite semi-final, but who would have thought, right? Because Khachanov, had it been Nuno Borges, and that is where that one service game of Nuno Borges becomes so big right now. Because had it been Nuno
yeah,
Borges, it would have been very easy for Taylor Fritz to win that game. But because it is
right.
Karen Khachanov and he has a very poor head-to-head record against him,
But I'm
that is.
excited for the quali tomorrow. Also, like a lot of audience I know actually watches Wimbledon when the quali starts, when I don't even blame them, sure. But yeah, I'm very excited for the quarter.
Should be interesting. And even in the women's side of it, I think Iga and Sabalenka should be playing the final.
Sabalenka,
Definitely.
100%.
Sabalenka is
Not
a definite
100%.
final.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you so much for another amazing chat. We are definitely going to watch the quarter. We are going to discuss it before we go into the semis, and there is a lot of action left in Wimbledon. So though we are rooting for Alcaraz, we are definitely not jinxing it. Come on.
I will not. I mean, I've jinxed enough. I've jinxed enough this Wimbledon.
You have. And we will see everyone in episode 3 right before the semis. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, share.
And subscribe.
You're learning. Love
Yeah,
it.
getting better, no? Thank you.
Much better, much better.